Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Linguistic Isle podcast. For today's first full episode, I wanted to give you a bit of background knowledge as to why I decided to do this episode first. So, let me ask you a question. Tell me if you could relate to this. Have you ever had an idea that you were really excited about? You started making plans, and then just before execution, all the negative thoughts start popping up in your mind. You start thinking, why should I do this? Who would be interested in it? This is probably a bad idea. Why does this matter? Okay, please tell me it's not only me. So, this is something that I had struggled with for a while. I would say for at least the last 3 to 4 years. Ideas bouncing around in my head, but every time I'm about to do something, this fear would just set in. So I would say back in, I think, 2018, I joined Toastmasters, which was something that was on my bucket list for a while. And I met this young lady, and at my first meeting at the club, at the Evolution Toastmasters Club, by the way, she gave a speech, and she mentioned something about wearing masks. This is before pandemic, as I mentioned, and how, we all needed to be kind of true to our authentic selves. So we ended up getting to know each other, found out that I worked with her husband in the past, and developed a bit of a friendship. And we would bounce our ideas off of each other, things that we were excited about. And something that I thought was very unique or interesting about her is that she always seemed to know, like, no matter what she wanted to do, she had at her focus point that she wanted people to be confident in who they were, in their identity in Christ. So I thought that was really encouraging. And I believe last year she released her book, which was something we had been talked about for a while. I also helped her with some of the editing, and just seeing her go through the process, her courage kind of gave me courage to get my projects off the ground as well too. So there were two important lessons I want to share before getting into this episode, which is going to be about the power of words. So this episode is about words and faith and the power of words. Is no matter what you're going to do, it is very important that you know your why. I say this a lot. If you don't know why you're doing something, it's going to be so easy to lose direction. I had to come to terms with, like, if I didn't have a strong why, so to speak, on why I was doing something, it would be very easy to get laid off track. Somebody says something, it's like, maybe I shouldn't do this, etc. So you have to feel very confident and secure in why you're doing what you're doing. And the second important thing was, you have to know what you value. If you don't have your value system in your own hierarchical order in your head, then somebody else is going to define for you what is valuable and what is important. So we got to make sure that we know our whys and what we value. So I wanted to start this episode out with a faith episode because, I think it's important, as the word says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all its righteousness, and then everything else will be added on to you. So I'm going to start at the core, what's important. I hope the message inspires you and blesses you and helps you to get this, how should I say, it was get on a clear path. For a long time everything seemed really cloudy in my head. It was like a lot of ideas, but getting a clear path of direction, that was tough for a while. And now I find that when I reorganize and reprioritize what is valuable, the path is becoming clear. A lot of people, we always say God is not a God of confusion. So I hope the message blesses you. I hope you're encouraged by it. So stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Prisca George. I am from this beautiful island of St. Martin. So glad to be here.
And tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. I'm a Christian. I'm a wife and a mommy. And I just really love teaching. I love baking. I love getting to meet new people. And I really love this as well. So
Awesome. So you ready to begin?
yeah.
Okay. So we're going to start with our word with a wordie because you love to write. Okay. So here are the questions. Tell us, what is your mother tongue?
My mother tongue, I would say, is English. And more specifically, and some people wouldn't really recognize that, I say St. Martin English. And they would say, but there's no St. Martin English. And I would add, well, we do have our own accent. So it's English, but in our way.
In our way.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right. How many languages do you speak?
I speak English, French, and a little bit of Spanish.
A little bit of Spanish. Okay.
Yeah, I love Spanish.
Okay, so you got to build on that end.
Yeah, I really want to.
Okay. All right. So in the last episode, I introduced the term code switch, which means basically the way you change your dialect or the way you're speaking, dependent on who you're speaking to. So it's something that comes really naturally to people. Is this something that you find that you do?
Yes, a lot.
A lot.
A lot. And really naturally. It's just an example. Sometime last week I met some Americans and they were speaking to me, and instead of responding in my natural accent, I was like, really? What part of the United States are you from?
So you find then that like whenever you encounter people, like you just naturally switch to the way.
Naturally switch. It happens when I'm speaking to my Dominican friend, and I never notice it. It's my sisters who were like, Prisca, why? And I'm like, oh, I don't even know. I don't even know. It's just automatic.
But now you sit down and think about it. Why do you think that happens?
Well, I think it happens because I don't want them to not understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I'm making them comfortable enough to, to get what I'm saying by speaking the way they are speaking.
It's true.
Basically.
It's true. I find it to be the same because I've worked in international schools as well too, and it's so amazing. Like if local staff members come, like it's awesome. Automatically, like, what's going on? And we talk this way, and then when we're speaking to them, we speak differently. Like, it's just, but I think it's for that same reason because we know that, hey, this will be more comfortable and this is what they understand. So,
yeah, exactly.
Okay, tell me, what is your favorite quote at the moment?
My favorite quote has always been my favorite quote as a child is be the change you wish to see. And that's a quote I saw behind of a cereal box. Oh. And I learned it. I just learned it. I felt like, that's so true. And I held on to it ever since.
That's a great thing to hold on to.
You wish to see,
Beautiful. What's your favorite song or song lyric at the moment?
At the moment, right now, there's this new song I started listening to, and it says something like, even when I'm shaking, I will not be shaken.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even when I'm shaking, I will not be shaken.
Yeah.
I love that.
I don't need any evidence or any proof. You are still God. You are here. And that is a song I've been listening to every day this week.
Okay, I like that. Even when you're shaking, I will not be shaken.
Yeah.
Even it's beautiful. And tell me one word that describes you.
Ooh, it's a hard one.
There's a lot of words and you gotta just pick one. That's rough.
Yes. Wow. I think what describes me right now is the word evolving.
Evolving.
I think it doesn't describe me as a person, but it describes me where I am in life right now. And I really believe that I am evolving. I'm not where I was. And there's so much more I'm seeing that's going to happen. So I'm just, evolving.
You're going with it. I love it. Okay, so now we are going to move into section 2, part 2. Yeah. All right, so Prisca on the podcast is going to be all about language and communication and really dissecting it. So communication is a way to convey a message. And that could be done in a lot of different ways. Like we communicate with our body. We communicate by writing. We communicate with language. So language can also be written, oral, read. And the smallest section, understandable unit of language is words.
Yeah.
So I mean, those words are made out of letters, sounds, but that have a meaning to it. The smallest part is words.
Yeah.
So why do you think words matter?
Wow. I think words matter because it's through a word that everything happens, basically. Every single thing. Now, I'm not going to go into the Bible, but I'll just say this bit, that it's a word that started the creation of this earth. And to me, a word is what brings whatever you're doing. Whatever you say, you're speaking to someone, you're speaking to yourself. A word is what helps. What's the word in English and not French?
To say it in French.
I was going to say transmet.
To transmit.
Yes, thank you. Which transmits what you're feeling, what you want to happen.
To transmit or to convey the message that you're trying to bring across.
Exactly.
Okay. So from your book, these are a couple of things that I remember you said. So these are some words or expressions. Yes. Exhibit A is coming. So yeah, in case we didn't say it before, she is the author of this book.
And I forgot.
It's not about you.
I forgot to say.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
this is it right here.
That's it. We'll take a picture of it close at the end. So there's a section that I remember where it talks about being a slave versus a son. Why do these words matter? This is a label. Slave versus son.
Slave or son. Yeah. That matters because in life, some of us think that we're a son when everything we do or the way we act is out of a place of being a slave, because we're more into the I need to work. And we forget that God isn't calling us to work, first of all. He's first calling us to have a relationship with Him, to be His son or daughter. And it's being able to live out of that place and not thinking, okay, if I do this, I'm getting points with God. God is like, yay, you're coming to heaven. When it's not that. It's more of you knowing in your heart that no matter what you do, even when you sin, I mean, that's why David, even when he slipped up, he went straight to God. He was like, God, I'm gonna pray. He just went straight down on the ground, and he knew that he needed God. He had that relationship with God, and that's one of the things I really admire about him, and one of the things I'm learning, and I really want a message to bring across, that although we do things for God, the Bible says it's not by works that we are saved. Nothing can make God love us more or less. It's just knowing that we are His son or His daughter.
That's so true. And if you think about that, like if you have your own children, then you know how you are as a parent. So if you see yourself like that, then you know that you don't have to work to be accepted. It's like, because if you are
already accepted, you're already mine. You don't need to do anything to prove or to try to be mine.
So that's why it's really important which word do you see yourself as a slave or a son or a daughter? Are you a child or are you a slave?
And to really bring it across, I talked about the prodigal son as like the best example, because the prodigal son went out and he came back, but he came back and realized that he is a son, because his father was like, my son is home. And the other son, but the older brother that was already there, who was supposed to be a son,
he's a son too,
he's
right?
like, but I slaved myself for you. I worked. Why am I not getting all that recognition?
Right.
Whereas he was already a son.
Yeah, he didn't recognize that. He didn't own that word, that's who he already was.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. Let's talk about the title. It's not about you. So if somebody just reads that extract by itself, that's a term maybe somebody it could be inspirational, but it could also be a put down, like it's not about you. You think it's all about you, it's not about you. So
it could be a put down.
Tell us about where the title comes from and the meaning behind those words. It's not about you.
It could sound harsh, but it's real. And that's what God was teaching me. Like, what are you? It's not about you. So what He taught me is that all that you have been going through in life up until now, you probably think that your past or your mistakes, are your hurts or should be kept, behind closed doors. But you are here for my glory. You are here because I'm ready to use you for somebody else. It's not about you. It's about what I'm going to do through you to touch somebody else. It's about my plans for you, but also my plans for my kingdom, for everyone else around you. Basically.
Wonderful.
So it's not about you.
It's not about you.
So
sorry, it's not about you. It's about God working through you.
Through you, yes.
So the last point I had was about these two words. A lot of times I've heard people say like we need to be confident in who we are. You know, you're confident in who you are. Can you be too confident? Does that connect confidence actually be arrogance? How do we toy the line between those two words, confidence and arrogance?
It's a thin line, because you can easily think, oh, I'm confident, and there's a lot of confident people. You know them. When they step into the room, you know who they are. But sometimes that confidence doesn't come from a humble place, and that's the mistake, and that's the part that is not so good. When you're confident, it's not that, okay, I can do anything, I don't need anybody, like, I'm here, I know what I bring to the table, I don't need you. But it's more of, I'm confident of what God gave me. I'm confident knowing that I'm chosen, I'm loved, and I can do what He put in my heart to do. So it's not from a place of me, but confidence in what God has given to me.
Nice.
I think that is what keeps you on track. Yeah. It makes a difference.
Okay, so you have a movement. Do you want to speak a little bit more? I see it on your shirt, the Taught to be Fearless.
Yes.
Movement.
I love how you say a movement.
Yes, it's a movement.
It's a movement. It's Taught to be Fearless is, the way I say it is, it's not a brand, it's a call. Here, it seems to be a brand on the shirt, but it's basically a call, because what I believe God wants to do through it is know people, so that people could know that I'm calling you to be fearless. Fearless for me, fearless in me. You walk fearlessly, you talk fearlessly. Whatever you have to do for me, you do it from a place of knowing that you have power provided through my Holy Spirit that's in you.
Sounds like it comes back to that confidence. So
comes
Him
back
giving
to
you
that
confidence
exactly.
in Christ.
And that's the movement I believe He's calling, not just the Christian world, because a lot of Christians still shy away from the purpose God has for them. Sometimes because of the mistakes they probably make and afraid of what others might say. But also the unsaved. You know, like, I'm calling you. Come and be fearless about it. And a lot of unsaved, like people who are not Christians, who haven't accepted God, they think that, you know, it could be tricky or shaky. They get fearful of actually becoming a Christian, for example, or giving God a chance, I would say, for example. But God is like, be fearless about it. I'm really calling you.
So when you say fearless, does fearless mean no fear or less fears? I mean, because usually fearless, I'm hearing those two words. So what does to be fearless really mean?
To me, what I've been learning is fearless means to put away the fear. Put it away. Do not tap into that fear that you feel, but tap into the power that God gave you. And then that makes the fear go away. I won't say practically, but it goes away completely. Yeah.
So how can you be taught to be fearless? So, or do you believe it's something that like you could be taught to do, to be fearless?
Yes, it's a process. It's
I
not
like
something
that.
you wake up tomorrow and be like, oh, I'm fearless about this, I'm going to go into it. It's a process, because up until today, I'm doing things and there's this voice that comes, are you sure you're good enough?
Yeah.
Can you really do it? While I was writing this book, who's going to read your book? Are you sure people are going to buy it? Who are you to write a book? And if I did not know God, I would be like, you know what, that's it, I'm not writing anything. But then God was like, this is it. This is a process right here. I'm still teaching you to be fearless. Hold on to that.
Through that. Teaching you to be fearless.
Even through this. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So let's go a little bit more into this fearless conversation.
Yeah.
So what would you say? We're trying to smash through some of these fears. What about someone who says like, okay, you know, I go through the process and, you know, I work towards my goal. I do it. But then I'm disappointed because it didn't really work out the way I thought. How do you deal with disappointments?
Disappointments, they always come. I think that's something that's natural. And I think it's also needed because it makes you stronger. It makes you perseverant. And the way I describe it, and it's funny because I did a hike yesterday and I did a speech on this before. It's like climbing a hill. It's literally like that. climbing a hill is so painful sometimes.
Yes.
Like, it hurts.
Even
Sometimes you have
hiking too.
to stop. You want to give up.
Yep.
There are so many obstacles on your way. You just want to reach up there. But just telling yourself that in the process of climbing, you're not going to get up there to enjoy the view, but you're going to get up there because of what it's going to do for you.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
You're going to become such a stronger person, perseverant, a determined person. You're going to be so proud of yourself that, wow, I just climbed that. I did it. It was hard, but I did not give up.
So it's almost like we have to get used to the idea that part of overcoming is going through some pain.
It's going through pain.
Yeah.
No pain, no
No
gain.
gain. That's the expression. No pain. It's for real. No pain, no gain. So, just have to prepare for it.
And another quote I put before on our platform is that there's purpose in your pain.
Woo.
Every pain has a purpose. And you just got to ask God, like, what is the purpose of this one?
Yeah. So I like that. So when you're going through it, ask God, okay, so what's the purpose of this?
Yeah. Why, God? Because there's a reason.
Yeah.
There's a reason. Sometimes we miss it.
Yes.
And sometimes we get so angry and we reject God instead of tapping into the fact that He's there in the pain. And you just ask God, what are you teaching me right now? What are you telling me?
I love it.
What should I learn?
I love it. What about a fear of rejection? Because, and in this, I'm going through kind of what you discussed too, because now you have your platform. Even for myself, there's like so many things that is in my mind. I want to do it, but then sometimes, like right before you get to that point, it's like, what if people don't like it?
Yeah.
And it kind of stops you. So, what about a fear of rejection?
That is something I feel. I think I feel it almost every day. I think I feel it almost every day because I'm thinking, would they want to see that what I'm doing is real, or will they not want to get into it because it's me?
Yep. Yeah.
And to what God has been teaching me through that is do it anyway.
Yes.
Do it anyway.
I had to, yeah.
Because even if one person buys this book, even
So
if
true.
one
So
person,
true.
gets this shirt or join the movement, that one life will be changed.
Amen.
Not because of you, but because of what I've placed inside of you. Do it anyway.
This is so true, and it goes into the next thing I was going to talk about, which is the need for approval or acceptance, because we live in this social media world, right? So a lot of times you're looking for likes. Did they like it? Did they like it?
So true.
Did anyone comment? Did anyone say anything? And even for me, because I'm on and off with my writing and or doing things, and sometimes it's like nobody's even paying attention. And to what you say, I'm gonna let you talk about it in a minute. Like, I have had to learn how to be like,
real.
I am just doing it anyway because I love to do it. I feel like God had told me to do it, so I have to let it out. But how do you overcome that feeling of always like, anybody read it? Anybody liked it? Anybody?
That's crazy. That's crazy because I have the Instagram, but I also have a Facebook, and I have a Facebook group. So sometimes I see like 7 people saw the thing and the post, and there's no reaction.
No
and I'm
reaction.
like, I just smile. I'm like, oh, okay. And then there's this feeling that comes like, why didn't you like it? Or and God is like, it's not about that. And and it's so strong because you have to know how to deal with that even behind a screen.
Yes.
Before you go deal with rejection out there. Because people will reject you to your face.
True.
Like, people will turn you down to your face. And it's all about learning in this entire process that it's not about me. I still have to do what I have to do.
So it goes back to what we're saying about, like, if you understand your purpose, if you are in your calling, then you're able to look over these things and be like, okay, but this doesn't really matter. It's not about me.
Yeah.
It's about this purpose that I have to fulfill.
And I'm not saying that you're going to be immune to that
Yeah,
feeling.
that's
You're
important to say.
definitely going to feel it because I feel it all the time. And I think it's a good thing to feel that because it makes you come back on track.
Yes.
Because you're thinking, oh, wow, this is what's really happening. And God is like, no, but this is what you're supposed to be doing.
But I find that it's so important that you say that because a lot of times in the Christian or inspirational community, so much times people say things that sound really good, and it's like we know it too, like yeah, persevere, it's about progress, it's about this. So you thinking that every time if you feeling something that like maybe you're not mature enough or you're not at this level,
something's
but
wrong with
that something's wrong with you, but your people are still dealing with it. Even the people who are discussing it and teaching you about it, we're still
Yeah.
dealing with it. So just because you you understand it doesn't mean that you're not gonna still have to go through it and deal with it every day. So it's this constant progress of talking
Yeah.
to
That's
yourself,
why it's about
words.
taught. You're being taught this
Yes,
every
yes.
single day as you grow. It's a process
Process.
every day.
Beautiful. Now, what about this one? The fear of making mistakes.
Huh.
This is huge.
That's a really big one. That's a big one
Yeah.
because when I was writing the book, there's a part I talk about my personal life. And I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I can so relate to every question you're asking. In writing that part, I'm thinking, wow, what if it's a mistake? What if I am not supposed to give that detail about that vulnerable side of my past and people laugh at me or they judge me? That was the biggest thing. What if they judge me? And every time, and even while I was asleep, it was like eating me in my mind. I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, wow. After a while, I had to take control of those thoughts and pray and say, God, I do not think you brought me here to write in this book. And you know that it's going to be a mistake. I do not think that anything that you do is a mistake. So it's basically relying on God for that and not yourself, because we are limited, we are flawed, and we do make mistakes, but always knowing that even when you make a mistake, there's God on your side. Even if people reject you, if people see the bad in you and you know there's none, there is God on your side.
And I think it's so powerful what you just said, because again, that's why I think words are so powerful and where you get your words from. Because you just said you have to say that to yourself. God, I don't believe that you brought me this far. So it's like we have to speak it into existence. We have to talk over ourselves. We have to cover ourselves, So
you have to, all those negative thoughts, you switch them up into positive thoughts, or positive words over you and over what you're doing. Because even while you're doing something, you probably don't know it, but there are people who are wishing bad for you. So just speaking the word over whatever you're doing, your projects or what God has called you to do, just speaking His word over it, knowing from a place of confidence that He really did call you to do it. Whatever, bad, negative, I won't say vibes, but
vibes, yeah.
Vibes come
Send out the
across.
bad vibes. Send away them bad vibes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes. No, that's good. And I like that you say vibes, because again, this is about language and culture. So the way we're gonna express that negativity, it's a vibe,
exactly.
So send out that negative vibe. So now we're going to part 3, where we're going to talk a bit about words and culture. Well, hello audience. I hope you guys enjoyed and were inspired by this episode. So there's no word bank for this episode, but there were lots of interesting vocabulary, including confidence, arrogance, taught to be fearless, the word fearless, overcoming fears, rejection, disappointment, making mistakes. So if you have any questions about those terms, feel free to go back and pause and listen again to the explanation. I wanted to thank again Prisca George for stopping by and having this interview with me. As you can see on the screen, you can see information about her book, which is available in English and in French. Now, I hope you're going to stay tuned or come back for the next episode when we delve deeper into part 2 of this episode about language and culture. See you on the next episode of Linguistic Isle. Ciao. Bye-bye.